Hello, my name is Adrian. I'm the coordinator for academic integrity. And essentially, my job, in addition to doing presentations like this, is to meet with students who have alleged to have violated the honor code or code of conduct. Over the past few years, artificial intelligence has become a reason that many students have been sent to our office or many inquiries to our office have been made about the use of artificial intelligence. So I hope that this presentation will bring to light a few ways in which there are some positives about artificial intelligence and perhaps some ways in which that could result in violations depending on that use that bring you to our office here at the University of South Carolina. So let's begin. So generally, what is artificial intelligence? In its simplest form, it's a field that combines um, computer science, data sets, all these models, brings together information from all over the internet and boils it down into responses that you and I can digest pretty simply. That's a very simple oversimplification, perhaps, of the way it works. But when it pertains to academic integrity, we're focusing on how does artificial intelligence, how is it used by students, how may that affect the integrity of their work, what rules are in place, and things of that nature. So when we talk about artificial intelligence and academic integrity, we're really talking about what is allowed and what is not allowed when it comes to how students are completing their work. So can I use artificial intelligence to do my homework? In most cases, no. Artificial intelligence, while it could give you really good responses and assist you, it's very important that you as a student talk to your faculty about artificial intelligence and determine whether or not it's allowed or if it's not allowed. Your faculty, your teaching assistants, and so on, those are the individuals who are going to be reporting issues to our office in the first place. So it's a good idea to find out where they stand and then go from there. And if you're going to use artificial intelligence, you may want to make sure you are citing it or using it to the level at which your professor is comfortable, because all of those things may determine whether or not there ends up being a violation in the first place. So here are our policies. Now, these are just three. The Honor Code has many more. But these are the policies that are most commonly associated with the misuse of artificial intelligence. Notice there's not a specific artificial intelligence policy here at the University of South Carolina. Rather, we have broad policies that, depending on how it's used, these things may be a problem with the use. Most commonly, we're seeing cheating unauthorized aid. So what does that mean? Unauthorized aid means using something that is not allowed, on a test, homework, quiz, etc. So if you're using ChatGPT to give you an answer, probably unauthorized. The same way if you're using a calculator on a test where you weren't supposed to use a calculator, or a certain kind of calculator on a test that you weren't supposed to use. Having access to notes, materials, other websites to assist you with your at-home work. All those things can be issues, and artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, things of that nature can also fall under that unauthorized category. Again, if your professor has not given you permission to use such a thing. Now you could say, do you have to ask every time I do an assignment if I can use AI? No, you can probably ask the first week of classes or whenever you think you might want to use it. Hey, professor, is this allowed? And they'd be able to give you a response. A lot of professors are starting to have artificial intelligence statements added to their syllabi to answer these questions from the start. We're also seeing different kinds of plagiarism. So whether it's just copied material with no acknowledgement to the original author or improper citations when citing things. Why is that the case? Well, if you are allowed to use artificial intelligence and you input a response into your paper or your work, you are likely supposed to be citing that material. MLA, Chicago, APA all have guidelines on how to cite artificial intelligence if it's going to be used as a source, no different than any other online source you may consider using in a written work for credit. Some other examples of how we're seeing this play out using artificial intelligence to generate an entire essay or response. Typically, your professors are asking you to do work, asking for your thoughts, opinions, feelings on topics, and using artificial intelligence to get those responses for you probably isn't what they're looking for. Using AI-powered translators. So, this is really an issue if you are writing your work in one language and then having a bot translate the entire thing and then turning that thing in without proofreading it, making sure it says what you need it to say, and so on. The best way, if you're going to translate your work or you need to translate your work and you're allowed to use a translator, you should be using small words and phrases and translating those things. Because if you use an entire paper and it's copy and paste, you could lose the point in your paper. It's not uncommon for these websites to alter someone's work, changing a yes to a no, a but to an and, or misinterpreting sources, or so on if you're blindly translating in this way. Using AI to heavily edit your papers as well can be an issue, right? Grammarly has a button that you can press that says, make this sound more professional, or make this sound more relatable, and it changes the sentence. Now, those are often just small changes here and there, but if those things add up over time, and it's not hard whenever a professor is reading 100 different papers or has written previous works that you may have submitted, comparing them to the one that's over edited, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And at a certain point, that editing becomes beyond just an editor and becomes a contributing author to your work, and that's not quite yours or not quite the point of that assignment submission. So these are some ways that we're seeing students end up in our office whenever they've used artificial intelligence. I want to take a minute to remind you all about the Carolinian Creed. The Creed is a guiding document. This Creed, you can't violate the Creed, but all of our honor code and code of conduct policies stem from the Creed. And that very first line says, I will practice personal and academic integrity. While each of these tenets is equally important in their own way, I do think there is some significance to integrity being the first thing there. As students here, as a member of the Carolina community, we have to believe that you are doing the best thing that you believe is possible in everything that you do. And that goes also with submitting your assignments and your work to your professors. We want to believe it's you. We want to believe you're trying. We want to help you. If maybe you haven't got the right answer, being wrong isn't the end of the world. There's an opportunity for growth there. But if you are whitewashing your work with artificial intelligence just to get a better grade, it really puts into question the integrity of your work and other ways you may not be upholding that in both professional and academic settings. So here are some commonly used AI platforms, Grammarly that I mentioned before. ChatSonic is a chat bot, much like ChatGPT. DeepL is a translator that we see a lot of students are using. Microsoft 365. We are a Microsoft campus. I don't want you all to think that using artificial intelligence is banned at the University of South Carolina. It's not allowed. You're using it every day. You're using it when you talk to Siri. You're using it when you shop on Amazon. And you're also using it whenever you're using one of the Microsoft 365 platforms, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, and so on. But it's a matter of how it's being used and how it's being leveraged. And if you're using it to enhance, edit, alter your work that you're submitting for credit, that's where the issues lie. So it's not the programs themselves are the problem, but it's how that you use them that could be a problem. So some positive ways to use, it's not all doom and gloom. Generating outlines. Writer's block is hard. So it could be a good idea to ask ChatGPT or to ask Copilot Bing, I'm writing a research paper on photosynthesis and I need an outline. Give me 5 topics I should cover in this paper. Well, doing that isn't doing the work for you, but it's giving you a roadmap for the research that you're going to do. It's helping you brainstorm, come up with topics for research, and so on. Creating a resume, not a bad idea. To say, hey, here's my experience, ChatGPT, give me some resume talking points that I can use for this job, and putting the job description. Now it's on you as the person applying for the job to make sure that everything in that resume is true, that everything there you can vouch for and is actually your experience. So you can't just have it make a fake resume and turn it in. Who's going to ask you about that? But you can use it, of course, for formatting or making your information as valuable and as marketable as possible. Using it as a thesaurus and a grammar and spell check is also very, very positive. But again, that over editing could be an issue. So making sure it's just here and there, and so on. We asked ChatGPT, why shouldn't you misuse artificial intelligence? And it gave us a pretty in-depth answer that I actually like. It starts off with saying that lack of personal learning. If you're using AI, you may be putting yourself at a disadvantage for critically thinking, doing research, building up your analytical skills. All of those things are paces that your class is putting you through to help you develop and grow and make this degree you're paying for mean something. So if you are using AI to get ahead in that way, you could be hindering yourself. There are some ethical concerns. There's some bias that may be in AI that you may not realize. That's some viewpoints not being accounted for. But also, it puts into question your other work. If you're using AI and you're not being open or honest about it, and someone finds out, your professor finds out, it puts into question all the rest of your work. And that may not be fair to you for all the hard work you or others in the class are doing. So are some things that only you can decide ethically if it's okay to use it in certain ways. But these are questions you have to ask yourself. And then there's personal and professional development. AI may deprive you of some chances to develop your skills, to sharpen your own iron there by using shortcuts to get ahead. It's for that same reason, in an Algebra 1 class, you might not be able to use a calculator the first couple of weeks because they want to see you go through the logic patterns and figure out how to solve these equations with variables. And we can add in numbers and make it more advanced later on and speed up the process of the calculator once we get there. But these foundational blocks are valuable there. The same way the foundational blocks in college are valuable for your future careers, right? Now, I firmly believe that artificial intelligence is not going away. It's only going to get bigger. It's going to impact all of our jobs. But I don't believe that AI is going to take your job. But it very much could be the case that those who know how to use artificial intelligence and use it appropriately may outperform those people who don't know how to use it or use it appropriately. So making sure that if you're going to get into it, you are understanding, the power that it has, how to leverage it in the future, and not use it as a crutch to get over. And then also, it went on to say some long-term consequences, right? Employers in graduate programs value integrity. So if you have a violation that brings you to an office like this one, well, that may be a little mark that employers may look at or graduate programs may look at, and it may not disqualify you from a position or a job or a placement in a graduate school, but that may bring some extra questions that you have to answer. So keep those things in mind. And then there's the educational purpose of assignments. We're giving you assignments that you learn, you know better, and you can use those things in the future. But if you are using it and you don't quite understand the material and that's why you used it, well, you may have missed the opportunity to learn from your mistakes there. And you may have gotten a good grade and moved on, but you haven't gotten the knowledge or information that we hope for you to have gained in that process. So citing artificial intelligence, if you notice in the previous slides, there was a citation there at the bottom of the screen. I'll go back to it there if I can. And you can see that we do have a citation there. But there's a full citation. OpenAI, so that's a company that owns ChatGPT. This was done a little while ago, so there is the version that was used. It's a large language model, and there's a link to the chat. Now, other citation guidelines may have more in-depth ways. Some of them want you to put the actual prompt used to get the response in the citation. Others are different. So if you're going to use AI, make sure you're citing it according to the guidelines that you're using for the rest of your paper or what the expectations are of your faculty. And then just some general resources to keep in mind. Our website, we have a couple of different things on our website that you can look at regarding artificial intelligence. Many of the things here are repeated or expanded upon there. Other videos, other tutorials. Um, the Student Success Center, Writing Center, the library. Why do we have those? Because sometimes going to another person, that human to human interaction, will be the best place for you to grow and learn as you're completing your work. The Writing Center, now if you use that resource, it's going to require you to plan ahead, time management, right? You can't wait to the night before to go to the Writing Center, but you can write a rough draft, outline, a guide, and so on, and have artificial intelligence, or rather have the Writing Center assist you every step of the way, as opposed to using artificial intelligence one time at the very end. The two main reasons folks end up in our office have nothing to do with artificial intelligence. I will say now, over the past year, roughly 30% of the cases that have come to our office have been dealing with accusations of misuse of artificial intelligence or declared use of artificial intelligence. But the root cause tends to be stress and time management. You're running late on an assignment, you're very stressed, you need to get something done immediately, you haven't quite planned your time, life is happening, you have multiple jobs. That stress is real. That wellness wheel of health, it can't function if you're not well mentally or physically, not getting enough sleep or rest, and those things. Those things lead to 11th hour decisions that may end up being violations or the use of AI type violations that come to our office. So keeping yourself healthy will definitely help keep you out of this office. It's your responsibility to read your syllabus, to know what rules exist, and ask your professor about anything you are unclear on. They will very much appreciate you coming to them in office hours or after class and having a one-on-one conversation, as opposed to wanting to beat their door down after they've accused you of violating a policy and then wanting to have a conversation. Manage your time wisely and always, always, always cite your sources. So thank you. I've been Adrian. And again, I work in the Office of Student Conduct and Academic Integrity. If you have any questions about this specifically or how our office works or things beyond that, please reach out to us and we're happy to assist. We are educators by nature. We're not a bunch of scary people. We hope that you learned something today. And if you have questions, please ask us. And if we can't answer your question, we'll try to find someone who can. All right. Take care.